3 months in Reno flew by, then it was time to get back on the road and make the trip home. Welcome back to this week's video. It's always hard to believe how fast time actually flies, but I wrapped up my contract in Reno, got ready for my last shift on Christmas Eve as I usually did, and finished out before year's end. I got myself ready and headed off for my very last shift. And before I knew it, that was it. Leaving Renown for the very last time. That's another contract down. So at this point, most everything is packed. I'm leaving as early as I can tomorrow morning. I have a little bit left to do after my shower tonight when I undo the hoses and everything and put a little bit more water in the fresh tank. But just about everything inside the RV is packed and put away, and that way all we have to do is kind of do the last minute things in the morning, hitch up, and we're good to go. Hey everyone, we are on I-80 outside of Reno and Sparks and all that, heading east. I got a super early start. I think I started packing up around 4:35 o'clock, and that was really good because I did hit a snafu with a broken cotter pin on one of the stabilization bars for my weight distribution hitch, and that was really interesting to try and put together and rig temporarily in the dark, in the cold. But that's RV life, right? That's what happens. Is things can and do go wrong, so you improvise. I stopped at a truck stop and I didn't find any pins, but I did find 14 gauge wire. So I bought a spool of that and I'm using that temporarily until I can actually get to a store that has the pins. But otherwise, we're off and running, everything's packed up, and hoping to make some really good time today. The first day of travel, distance covered was from Reno, Nevada to Wendover, Utah, which is right on the Utah-Nevada border. It was cold and overcast, so I got a big giant bowl of menudo before reporting to my first stop. I'm at this historic Wendover Airfield and Museum. The museum is closed this week, but they still allow us to overnight, and you can kind of walk around and see the stuff that's here. With the museum closed, I left a check for a donation and did a little bit of exploring, including the old control tower. This is a big deal for me because about 4 years ago I had a really bad accident in the mountains at a high altitude ridgeline. So since then, heights have been a little bit of an interesting challenge. I'm inside this huge airplane, some military craft. I'm not sure what it is offhand. Oh my goodness. I don't want to go all the way in there. This thing is a bit terrifying on the inside. You ride around in one of these things. Once I did my share of exploring, I went and got Virgil and allowed him to putz around and check things out as well, which he loves doing. We tucked in for a good night's sleep and then got back on the road early the next morning. The second day of the trip was going to take us across Utah and then past the Colorado state line to Grand Junction. This would be the location of my second Harvest Host, the Victory Life Church. Lots of space, and I even got a chance to bust out my drone a little bit. Once more, we were back on the road super early the next morning. Because of road closures that my GPS said were on Highway 50, it routed us up 92 through Black Canyon. This is an absolutely gorgeous drive, much like Million Dollar Highway in Colorado. I don't have video footage because it is very steep drop-offs, winding roads through the mountains, definitely not a place you want to be distracted. This then meets up again with Highway 50 at Blue Mesa, which is absolutely beautiful and a very popular camping site. There are large RV parks there as well. Perfect vacation destination if you're in the area. I made it over Monarch Mountain with no trouble, but can't say the same for this guy. This truck's brakes are totally burning up. At long last, back home. So that is it for this week. Thanks so much for coming along. Hope it was enlightening or at least a little bit entertaining. You may have noticed I didn't have a video last week. Since I got home to Colorado, I've had a car accident, my truck is in the shop, and a vet emergency for one of my older horses. So it's kind of impacted my production schedule a little bit, but hopefully you'll get back on track. Again, thank you guys for coming along, and I'll see you on the next one.